Sure. Thanks, John. Appreciate everybody coming. And I know this is a little bit off schedule for all of us, doing this on a Friday, which is normally Tuesdays for these media events, but always good to kind of flush out the last game and talk about the next one, whatever day of the week it is. Yeah, it was what a reacquaintance for me with Maction. Couldn't have gotten off to a more wild, exciting, ugly at times, but nonetheless thrilling start. And to come out of it with a win was really, really incredible and satisfying for these guys that have worked so hard. You know, we talked a lot going into the Ball State game about it being a 12-round fight and to come out swinging, and that's exactly what we did. We put together a 15-play, 75-yard drive that took up half the first quarter, arguably our best drive of the year offensively, moving the chains. We were aggressive from the start. We went for it on a fourth down rather than kicking the field goal. And then obviously punched it in the end zone there to really set the tone for the night. But from there were a lot of momentum swings, and you know, we struggled defensively in the first half. We had some assignment busts. We had some ugly missed tackles, both of which created explosive plays for Ball State. I will say I think that's one of the best Ball State offenses. You know, I'd like to think our 2013 team that averaged, I don't know, 44 points a game or something, hopefully ranks among the best of all time. But that one that we just saw the other night can't be very far behind. It's a very talented, potent offense, and they certainly have a lot of weapons and made their share of plays. The middle eight, as some people like to refer to it, the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half was a critical juncture for us. They tried to be really aggressive before the half rather than running it out. Sean Dolak with the interception. Fortunately, we had timeouts left, so after our first shot to score with 9 seconds, we were able to stop the clock and then run another play. And, you know, terrific job by CJ finding Vic Snow in the back of the end zone, and that closed the gap. And then we came out in the second half, came out with a sort of an exotic kick, a sky kick that Ball State struggled to handle. That gave us really good field position. Defense gets the stop. We go down and score and now take a 31-28 lead. So really good complementary football with all three phases there in that middle 8 minutes of the game. But we couldn't keep it. You know, we couldn't keep that momentum. And next thing you know, we're 3 and out. We're missing more tackles, and we're down 35-31. Then a couple other drives. We get picked off, and those come out without any points. So now we're down 2 scores, and you know, we're in the fourth quarter and really need to hustle. And to see our guys battle back and then make some plays, fourth down plays, third down plays, just some things we work on, like high pointing balls and what JJ did to go up and get that one. Some really impressive stuff to get that game to overtime. And then in overtime, we played really well. You know, we held them to the field goal. A critical stop on 3rd and 8, where on a scramble, 2 heroes of the game, Sean Dolak, Red Murdoch, Buddy tackled the quarterback 2 or 3 yards short of the first down. They don't have a choice there. They've got to walk away from that drive with 3. And then we scored 2 plays later. And, you know, you talk a lot about opportunities in this game and what football provides and how it reflects on life. And Lamar Sperling is a very talented player for us. He's got a really bright future ahead of him. He's played in every game except one where he had a family matter that he had to miss. But probably hasn't played as much as he would like to play, like a lot of guys at this point in the season. Al-Jay Henderson's obviously become our marquee back in the last 5 or 6 games, and I don't think anybody would argue that. But Al-Jay gets banged up late in the game. Lamar finds himself in and makes an incredible play for the winning touchdown in overtime. It just doesn't get any better than that. And you want to talk about reinforcing the ideals that you work on every day as a team, whether it's one-on-one meetings or team meetings or position meetings or in practice, in the weight room. All of that stuff comes full circle. So this wasn't a 12-round fight. This one went to overtime, and we had to play past 60 minutes. And very, very proud of our guys doing that. And obviously, getting bowl eligible is special. And now here we are moving on to the next big challenge, and it's definitely going to be one for sure. Eastern Michigan is a very, very good football team. And like everybody else in this league, they have had their share of close games, wild games, games that have gone both ways. They were very much in the game against Ohio the other night. We know that's a tough place to play on the road firsthand. And then, some turnovers, kind of similar to our game. And then, the game was actually a lot closer than the score indicated. They went right down to the wire with Toledo. So this is a team that's earned some very good wins and also fought for 60 minutes, even if they came up short. So Chris Creighton and I go way back to my first time in the league, and I think the world of him as a person. I have the utmost respect for what he's done at Eastern Michigan, which historically was a program that had struggled, one of the tougher jobs in the league. Ball State being another tough job in this league, so I think we had that connection right off the bat, but really admired the job that he's done there the last 10 years. They've been to 5 or 6 bowl games, several winning seasons. They've won some bowl games, and I think Chris and I sort of hit it off because we're both small college guys. We had both been head coaches for a long time when we first met, and sort of had been at places where you had to do more with less. And at that time, we were still at those type of places. So we've always had that connection. Chris is a very smart guy. He's a Kenyon College grad. And for those of you that are not familiar with your Division III liberal arts colleges in Ohio, you've got places like Worcester and Denison and Wittenberg that I would say are pretty conservative places. And then you have a place like Kenyon that I would say it probably leans a little left, but don't ever confuse Kenyon with Oberlin. If you ever confuse Kenyon with Oberlin, you are going to upset somebody like Chris Creighton or a graduate of Kenyon College, because Oberlin is like off the deep end. So that's they're competitors. That's a kind of a rivalry. And Oberlin is like somewhere over there with Swarthmore. So just don't confuse those two places. And but Kenyon is one of those really fine schools, and Chris is a bright guy, was a really good quarterback there. Probably could have done a lot of other things, but decided to get into coaching. So anyway, I'm digressing from Eastern Michigan. These guys are fighting for bowl eligibility. They're a really good team in all 3 phases. They're well coached, and it shows, and they know how to win. Offensively, this is another high-powered, potent offense. They are a lot of 11 personnel, about 80% 11 personnel, and then the other percentage of the time they're getting into some heavy sets. Very happy to put 2 or even 3 tight ends out there. But they're 4th in total offense in the conference. They're averaging 27 points a game. They go fast. They can go fast at any juncture, and they're very good at doing that. Obviously, they've got a veteran quarterback in Cole Snyder. I don't know Cole, but I've heard a lot of wonderful things about him, and I'm sure for you guys it certainly provides for an interesting storyline for this game. I can tell you he's a really good player, and it seems like he's playing his best football, which is a credit to him and the coaching staff there at Eastern. And I know Chris, when I saw him this summer, spoke very highly of Cole and the impact he made from a leadership standpoint. And you know, this is just the nature of college football nowadays, right? That we all have to adjust to these roster changes. You know, I remember as a kid being a big Cincinnati Reds fan, and Pete Rose got traded to the Phillies, and I was just heartbroken about it. Heartbroken. I guess if you're a Phillies fan, that was probably a good thing, but for me, I couldn't imagine watching Pete Rose in a Phillies uniform or an Expos uniform. You know, he was a Cincinnati Red to me. So, you know, that's just the world we live in. But getting back to Cole, he's averaging 249 yards passing per game. He's a above average runner. They are not afraid to run him, and he's added, you know, 40, 50 yards of additional offense per game running the ball. He's a very good decision maker with the football. He's got very few interceptions on the season. He gets the ball out quickly. So this guy's a very, very good quarterback. And, you know, we've seen several good quarterbacks in recent weeks from Western Michigan and Akron and Ball State, and here we go again. And you know, our pass defense is struggling right now, so you know, this is another week where we're going to challenge our guys to step up and try to get better here, going against another top quarterback and some other really good receivers. Singleton, number 2. He's got over 60 catches for the season. He's a slot receiver, also a punt returner. Lockett is an explosive receiver, 37 catches. Mims, who's their top runner, number 34. He's a North Carolina State transfer, 76 yards on the ground, but he's got several catches out of the backfield. Reese, their tight end, has got 25 catches. He's very good running with the ball in his hand after the catch. And then 83, Getzinger, is their backup tight end. He plays a lot. He's also a threat in the passing game, and a guy that you have to be aware of, blocking on the perimeter and so forth. So this is another very, very good offense, and going to provide another great challenge for our defense in more ways than one. Defensively, their defensive coordinator has been on the staff with Coach Creighton for some time, also coached in our league at Kent State before going to Eastern Michigan, so he's very familiar with these midweek games and the nature of teams in our league. Very solid physical group, very well coached. They're a base 4 down, but they will jump into a lot of bear front, which is a 5 down front, and they'll get to it a lot of different ways. So they might sub an extra big guy in the game. They might take one of their backers and move them down on the outside. They might take one of their inside backers and move them down on 3rd downs to cover the center, to give you these 5 down looks, which are very challenging. And then from there, especially on 3rd downs, you might get a lot of twists and different movement out of it. So there's a lot of challenges there. On the second level, they'll often start in a 2-high shell and then spin their coverages, playing man, cover 1 or 3 deep. They'll bring some pressure from the outside or from the inside. Their corners are good cover guys, number 4 White and number 7 McNulty. Luke Murphy, who's a Kent State transfer, is got 70 tackles. Number 20, he's one of their linebackers. 55. Junkum, if I'm saying that right, he's got 59 tackles and 6.5 TFLs. And then number 9 has got 4.5 sacks. Price. He's a very productive guy, 6'2", 290, disruptive on the inside. So this is a defense that's going to present a lot of challenges for us. We're certainly playing well offensively right now, but this is a group that is very physical, very rugged, very multiple, and they're going to do whatever they can to stop the run. Moving on to special teams, two of their running backs, because they do rotate a lot of running backs through the game. Brown, number 30, and 24, Matord are their kick returners. Both those guys are dangerous back there, comfortable handling the ball. Overall, I would say it's an aggressive, well-coached special teams unit. Their punt pressure brings a lot of pressure. They've got Singleton and Reese back there that are both aggressive returners. They'll play different guys in different games at punt returner, but both of them have been productive. Gomez, their kicker, arguably the most veteran experienced kicker in the league, 19 of 24, so he's having a great season, had a long, distinguished career, hits mostly touchbacks on kickoffs, so they're going to limit your opportunities there. And then Tomasek is another senior, their punter, averaging over 42 yards a punt. He can rugby punt as well as angle punt. So anytime you've got two reliable senior specialists, that certainly helps you sleep at night as a coach. So, I'm excited about the opportunity, but certainly, staying very grounded and knowing that we've got another really big challenge ahead of us here. We're going to have to have a great week of preparation. We are fortunate that we had sort of an extra day playing on the Tuesday and then playing on the Wednesday, so we tried to take advantage of that, getting our guys as much rest as we could, but also trying to get a little bit of a head start on this game, and need to have a great weekend of practices and smooth travels up there, and looking forward to another opportunity and a chance to get win number 7. So with that, I'll open it up to your questions.
Pete, now that bowl eligibility is checked off, is the next goal, clearly, obviously, you've got the next game at hand, but you're still in contention for a berth in the MAC championship game. Have you talked through mathematical scenarios? Have you looked that far ahead yet? Yeah,
we have not brought that up at all. The guys are very much in tune with what's going on in the league, and our focus is always to control what we can control, and you have to live by that. If I walk in and start pulling up everybody else's schedule and this needs to happen and that needs to happen, I feel like I am not living by our core values, and that is to focus on ourselves and to take care of what we can control and to prepare as well as we possibly can to put ourselves in position to win the next game. I think our guys are well aware that with every win we can get, that just solidifies our position and creates better opportunities for our team. And, with regards to everything else that's out there, the chips will fall as they may. But that's 100% of our focus. These guys know how good Eastern is. They know that Eastern's got to find a win here in their next 2 games to get to bowl eligibility, so we're going to get their best shot. We got to go on the road, all the wild stuff that can happen in these midweek games. So we can't spend, a second of time worrying about scenarios with Miami of Ohio or Toledo or somebody else.
Pete, CJ's running has become a big weapon for your offense, maybe more so recently. Was it something where you have encouraged him to do it more? Did it just evolve naturally? How has that now become a bigger part of your offense?
It's both, really. I think all of his productivity, and obviously he had some struggles the other night, some throws that sailed on him and some underthrown balls that were intercepted, but also some really big-time plays that he made. I think everything comes with experience and confidence, and that is being reflected in some of the outstanding plays that he's made, running it and throwing it. And some of them are designed runs. Some are scrambles, like the one he scored on late in the game. And then, from a throwing game standpoint, I mentioned that first drive of the game, the 15-play drive. We get to plus territory, and we throw a 3-by-1 concept, which we haven't done a ton of this year. But if you look back at my offenses historically at Ball State, at Elon, at Lehigh, that was a huge part of our drop-back game. And he started on the 3-man side, and he progressed all the way across, and he ended up throwing a beautiful check down to Al-J Henderson, who scooted down the sideline for about a 13 or 14-yard gain to move the sticks. And, I saw that, and that might not have been one of the most dramatic plays in the game, but to me it was a huge play because it showed that very kind of progress, maturity, confidence, experience that you're starting to see out of CJ at this point in the season with 9 or 10 games under his belt. And those are the things that you hope an experienced quarterback can do. He would not have been able to make that kind of progression playing against Lafayette or Missouri. So that's a credit to him. It's a credit to Dave Patnode and the pass protection and the receivers, and everybody contributes to making that happen. But let's face it, it starts with the quarterback's comfort level and confidence.
We've also had the benefit of an offensive line that's had great continuity all season long. We don't always talk much about that, but maybe here's your opportunity to give those guys a little bit of love.
Absolutely. It is. We were hoping going into this season that it would be one of the strengths of the team. And, the transfer portal giveth and taketh away, and we had some turnover there in the spring that, just again the nature of college football, but most of those guys did return. Henry Tabasny has stepped up and much like CJ, really grown and developed with several games under his belt as a starter. And he's still very much a work in progress, but he has played a lot of snaps now and played alongside 4 other guys that have a lot of experience, and it shows. The way we're covering people up, the way we're passing off twists and different things in the drop back game. Several coaches have come up to me before games and been very complimentary of our offensive line. Matt Stansfield, a retained member of our staff, has done a great job with those guys. So very proud, and also what they're doing off the field. Trevor Brock right now has got straight A's in his classes, probably on his way to his best semester since he's been here. So those guys are bought in more ways than one, and in their own way, they're some of the best leaders on our team.
Pete, Red Murdoch, what has he really done to kind of elevate his game this season? And how has Sean Dolak made an impression with him?
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't mind saying this. Red was playing through. He was on antibiotics and had a strep throat the other night. He was definitely not 100%, and he still had 17 tackles or something. So that just tells you, how that guy's wired. He probably played that game at feeling 85, 90%, and still, had a highly productive game. One of the great things about Red is he is just so unselfish and so grateful and humble. Coming out of spring, we knew that he was going to have to be a key guy on defense for us, and really felt optimistic that he would be an all-conference type player. But then Sean transfers back, and now, you have to sort of, share that role with another guy who is very experienced and has a great history of productivity as well. And, their kind of Starsky and Hutch type relationship has been really, really good to see. Obviously, they've been 2 great leaders on our team all season, and 2 very, very well-respected guys in the locker room.
Let's Starsky and Hutch, which one Starsky was kind of.
Oh, I'd have to think about that some more, I guess. And we'd have to say, is it the the TV show from the 70s, or is it the movie? What year? I don't. The movie came out maybe 10 or 15 years ago. That was pretty good. It was pretty good too.
You mentioned it that the pass defense has had some challenges through the course of the season. In what ways are you working on it? In what ways are you trying to eliminate some of those glaring mistakes that happen on occasion?
Yeah. So there's several different things that you're doing. You're trying to put your guys in the best possible position schematically so that you can play to their strengths, but you certainly can't sit in the same coverage, for 70 snaps in a game. So you've got to, look for different creative ways schematically to put guys in position to be successful, but to also hopefully hide some of your weaknesses. You've got to try to shake up your lineup a little bit and create competition even in November, so that guys don't get too comfortable or complacent. And you think about it, if you've got Red Murdoch and Sean Dolak out there producing at the level they are, well, there's not much conversation about who else should be playing at linebacker. But if you're struggling in the secondary, you've got to be willing to mix and match some different guys back there and see who might be able to step up and add some productivity to the unit. Because if you just stay with the same guys and keep having the same problems, that's not fair to the team. Not that you're ever giving up on anybody, and I think we've coached those guys with a lot of support and a lot of positivity. But some of it falls back on them too, to correct mistakes and learn from the experience that they're getting. And then the last thing I would say, you've got to play DB with an edge. You've got to play DB with a short memory. You're going up against some outstanding quarterbacks and some really good receivers, and they are going to make their share of plays. I can't tell you how many Saturday morning chats I've had with our team and told them it's okay. They're going to make some plays. This is a really good combination of quarterback and receivers and tight ends or whatever. And so you've got to be able to move on and to not let something that happened the play before affect the next play or the next series. And then the last part I would say is that it's okay if they catch it. It's not okay if we're not in position to get the ball on the ground so that we can line up and play again. And I think we were doing a better job of that earlier in the year, and some of these plays recently that could have been a 12, 15, 18-yard gain have turned into much more explosive plays. So we've got to continue to coach tackling, which we do every Tuesday and Wednesday, right up here through the very end of the season. So there's a lot of contributing factors, and other things like pass rush. So to make sure that ball is coming out sooner. And, we're definitely missing George and we're missing Savion on the back end, but those things aren't going to change right now, right? So everybody's got guys out of the lineup at this point, and it's all about challenging the guys you have to step up and be the best versions of themselves.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you.